everybody, and welcome to the PinMeTo podcast. Our guest today is Johan Salo. He's a dynamic design leader at Ambition Group and also an expert in everything AI. So I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting conversation with two AI bubbles, me and him. So looking forward to speaking with him right after this. Hey everybody, I'm here with Johan Salo. Hello, Johan.
Hello.
Welcome to the PinMeTo podcast.
Well, thank you.
Very nice to have you here. The first question is a very hard one. Who is Johan Salo? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I mean, that's a really tricky question if you
It
don't
is.
know
It
it.
is.
So I can I have over 15 years of experience in the digital production industry. So, but as a background, I started out as an interaction designer, like a student of design, where I started to do this. I was more into art and like interactive installations, and I thought I wanted to do some thought-provoking installation that was interactive that made people like be enthusiastic and more engaged in the experience rather than perhaps bringing value and create meaning more on a larger scale than just right here and now. So as I work now, I mean, I still want to blow people's minds, if you want to say that, but more in a meaningful and inclusive way. So not just to like create some disturbance in the street with some culture people. So yeah, that's my focus now.
And it's a very good focus to blow people's minds. I think that's awesome. So we invited you here to speak about something that is super important for any company these days. It's super important for us to think about it in terms of art in the future, in terms of the entertainment industry, because things are going to sure change a lot. We've noticed this. People are more aware of artificial intelligence because of the new tools that came out like a year ago for generative AI and images and ChatGPT, etc. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of artificial intelligence? Because it didn't start last year; it's been around forever. Tell us a little bit about it, and also what do you think about the tools that we have at our disposal these days?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't like tell you the whole history of AI, but from my perspective, at least, as I understand it, there's several ways of looking at it. AI is a research field, but it's also something like on a more philosophical sense that artificial intelligence is something that might happen. It might be something that machines could achieve to that we build in intelligence into machines. And of course, when you talk about AI now, you talk about generative AI. You might mean that you're talking about ChatGPT or Google Bard or Midjourney or something like that. Uh, well, for me, it started more or less around 2018 when I read this paper from researchers in China. They wanted to monitor workers' stress levels in a factory based on their brain waves. So they used this brain computer interface to measure brain waves, and they meant that they could actually see who was behind the brainwave, and based on the theta waves, they could notice that people were slacking off, and they can also see who it was. So I thought I wanted to replicate this as a design experiment in a prototype. So I just used it on a few colleagues when I was doing my PhD at Malmö University. And I was so surprised that I could actually, I think it was around about 95% probability I could recognize who it was that was having this device. And also I could see if the person was sitting or standing on one leg or so. But I mean, it wasn't not like validated more than in a few tests. So, but that actually opened my mind on GPT, because at that time I think GPT-2 was available. So I start using some of the tools available apps and try out to how can I get a hold on GPT-3. So then in November, December, when they released to the public ChatGPT, I was so amazed that okay, it seems like it's happening now, because Elon Musk warned about that they shouldn't release it to the public, but they did anyway. So here
And
we
now
are
it's out
now,
there.
this booming AI thing.
Absolutely, and everybody needs to adapt to it. So this is quite mandatory because it's going to take a life of itself. Um, so you were talking about ChatGPT. Of course, we can use this on other generative systems like Midjourney, DALI, etc. But what is a prompt? Uh, is it a way to speak to a computer? Can you explain exactly what it is?
Yeah, a prompt. It is an instruction that you give to, let's say, ChatGPT or Midjourney. So in ChatGPT, you can just write, you can copy paste the text, for example, and then you say rate this, and then you will get a lengthy answer on your text's content and quality. So, but in general, you don't need to overthink the prompt. Yeah, just it's important to give it context, and also there's also different things to think about, like you should give it a directive, a tone of voice. Maybe you want to consider you have an audience, then you want to describe a complex picture of the audience, or just say it should be informal or formal.
Exactly, exactly. So it's actual an instruction we give to one of these machines to do what we pretend them to do. We intend them to do. And as you mentioned, we can ask for, to write this text in a certain tone of voice, or as if you were a managing director of a company, or as if you were 8 year old. And that's basically the prompt part. A lot of people are concerned about their jobs these days because they see that they can be replaced. We have, for example, currently, at least at this time, there's two strikes in the United States for the writers and the Actors Guild of America, that SAG-AFTRA, that they are afraid that AI might be able to replicate their image rights. And a lot of book writers also are trying to avoid ChatGPT to read their books and try to emulate their writing. Um, my question to you is, how can we avoid being replaced by AI?
Okay, how you would avoid being replaced? I mean, you would be replaced if you don't understand how it works in the current time now, and that's it. Doesn't matter what kind of technology that comes around. Okay, let me give you a personal example. When I was about 2008 or so, Steve Jobs said that they want to stop Bluetooth in iPhones, and also they want to like also stop Flash. And I was working on a Flash project where you could send images to a big screen out in the public, and it was a combination of Bluetooth and Flash. So then actually I had no product anymore because everyone was buying iPhones. So we need to like adapt, understand what was coming, and start making apps instead. So yeah, that was more like a concrete example of how we adapted. But now I think just dig into it. Get your hands dirty. Like that's my motto as a designer. When I start at a new job or see new technology, just start using it. See how it goes.
Absolutely. We really need to adapt to innovation because we've been adapting to innovation for millions of years. And with tools and ways to hunt, etc. But most recently, people are quite, you know, they don't like innovation as much as we'd like. For example, from the old cinema that didn't have audio, we had only music, to the actual recording of voices. That was a big change in Hollywood, and nobody wanted it to happen.
No.
But it ended up happening, and it's okay. So I think innovation is very good, and we should embrace it so that we don't get replaced by these machines. Um, PinMeTo is also about marketing, as you know, location marketing. Not specifically about PinMeTo, but how do you have a good example of AI applied to marketing? Can you have you heard recently something that is pretty cool to share with us? A very good way to apply AI to marketing.
Yeah, when I was researching LiveSum in a like it was a research course, I noticed that they took big data from London, from personal data from customers, and made this marketing campaign on the smoothie of London based on what people like in London. So they said it was some kind of AI involved, but this was like in 2017, so I couldn't see that it was that like advanced. But now I seen let's. Did you see the Coke ad that where they used yeah AI to create like live animations in a museum? I
Yes,
see
yes.
that they were quite early. And when I went to the train to Malmö from Copenhagen, I actually have it with me here. They actually made this. You see it?
Yes, yes.
It says
Let me just put you on full
future-inspired
screen.
flavor co-created with AI. So it's kind of is it this an ad or yeah? It just shows that they are working with AI somehow to
Yeah,
show us that they know what they are talking about somehow.
they're trying things, and that's
They're
that's
trying at
that's
least.
awesome. Okay, so artificial intelligence. One of the things that come up a lot around the conversations about AI and the future is ethics. So how do we teach a machine, so to speak, to what's wrong and what's right?
Mm.
And what's your take on that?
Yeah, I know that generative AI is like a black box. You don't really know when you write something and you get something produced, and if you ask it where did you get this from, it can't like show the references from it. And there's an initiative working on something called XAI. So it stands for explainable artificial intelligence, and it means that the results of AI should be understood. And the overarching goal of this initiative is to make the decision making process of AI models more transparent. It should also be you should be able to interpret it. Like how can we understand how the model is created, and who should we blame if something goes wrong? Who takes responsibility for the content of the AI?
Yeah, that box that you just mentioned, that is a gray area where we don't know exactly what's going on there. Uh, yeah, we don't know how we're going to control it. But I think Stanley Kubrick has an idea on 2001 Space Odyssey where HAL 9000 gets his own mind. So maybe that can happen. We don't know. We don't know. But that's a good movie to watch about AI. That was done a long time ago,
Yeah. I
and it's
remember
super
it was
relevant.
very long. The movie is how many hours?
Yes,
Uh,
I don't know, but it's probably close to 3.
yeah.
But it's incredible how we even with Blade Runner, Star Wars, etc., Star Trek, they actually could predict these things in because it's so natural that innovation happens because it has to, because
Mm.
it's part of life. And it's really awesome to see now things actually happening in real life. It's really really amazing. um, but people are afraid sometimes, of course, for this innovation. We have some some European countries that are not so happy with ChatGPT and other AI platforms. Someone somehow to ban them, or at least to control them much more. What are your predictions in terms of the legality, how legal AI can be in the future?
I mean, I think it's possible to ban certain services and tools like ChatGPT. You could ban it until they figure out how to pay artists and or how to protect our private data. But you could just as well download your own model and have it in your own computer, and that is more difficult to ban, I believe. So
Yeah, so it can't be controlled basically, because
basically, it's really difficult.
it's really difficult now that it's out there. Let's speak about design. Let's speak about the decision process behind design. Now that we can use Mid Journey and other tools, that now we can actually even make a mock-up of what we need, and they can mash up images and work with the different artistic visuals. Uh, can you share, or do you have any experience of when AI significantly influenced or improved a design process or a decision of yours?
Yeah, I used it in the whole design process. Maybe not in the craft itself, but mostly in, for example, if I do like a plan for a project, I give it context, and then it provides me with a structure. Yeah, right. You have to have the research question and also perhaps related research, so you can get ahead really quickly and then start filling out your own content, of course. So, and if I want to like present insights on a project, a long project, I can just like prompt objectives and the context of the project, and then I can ask, for example, ChatGPT to can you give me a structure of a amazing like slideshow that says this, this, and this for this audience. Maybe I turn myself to UX designers or to business people. You have to have the right lingo so they can listen to what you say. So in most of the process, I find the ChatGPT as my like design assistant, so to speak. But all the decisions and all the text, of course, I write, but ChatGPT can help me like almost to get there. Do you understand
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a great idea generator.
yeah.
Absolutely. Johan, especially about designers, because yeah, they are also afraid, and they need to be more involved in AI in the future, as a support tools or their own tools. I believe Adobe, for example, will work with AI. Certainly, they are right now developing AI stuff. They did with Adobe Firefly, for example. What is your suggestion, your tips for someone, for a designer these days that want to uh, don't lose track of, don't lose the wave and surf it in terms of AI, especially for designers?
Do you mean like if I as a designer lose myself in AI, or do you mean how do I find my way in the AI?
Yes,
Yeah,
how do you so imagine I'm a young designer, I don't want to be left out because I can't, because the future is here.
yeah.
What do I do? Where do I start?
I mean, my main source of information is mostly LinkedIn and Medium, where I follow the persons that I like really like professionally, and they often post about the latest stuff all the time. For example, if you follow OpenAI on LinkedIn, and you follow generative AI, you will get tons of tips, and you see them as they release something, you see it immediately. And if you are in Medium, you also follow. Okay, this article was good. You follow that person, and then it grows. You get recommended to the articles you need to read.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you listening to any podcasts or reading any book that you can suggest?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Lex Friedman's podcast. He invites a lot of people from here, left and right, here and there. And he had an interesting discussion with the author that wrote the book called *Sapiens*, which I also recommend to read. Hartmut Rosa's *Acceleration of Society*. It is how technological innovation drives our faster pace in society, and then the municipalities come with regulations, and then we invent even more, so it gets faster and faster and faster.
Those are really, really good suggestions for us. Final question is a very difficult one. We need to, of course, think a little bit about that. But do you think, and not just in design, generally in health, for example, in many fields, in basically all industry, do you think that AI in a few years will actually be able to substitute human intuition, at least for some jobs? Do you believe that can happen?
Right now, I can't see it, but I mean, it can happen. What I think designers, what differentiates us designers to the AI tool is that we can feel and we can empathize with customers and users, and AI can't do that yet. But then again, you see Elon Musk's new initiative with having neuro implants in pigs, eventually into humans. That could affect something in the brain, perhaps. We don't know that yet, but it's both intriguing and exciting as it is alarming and a little bit crazy. If you just
Absolutely.
Google Elon Musk, Neuralink, and pigs, you will see this really
Yeah, yeah.
strange press release.
Actually, there it's super well explained how it happens, but we don't know exactly the
No.
effects of it. But it's very interesting. Of course, it is, and we don't know what's going to happen. That's the true thing. But we need to keep our eyes and our brains on artificial intelligence and everything around it, because it's here. It's the future. Johan, to wrap this up, tell us about what you do, your company, what's behind it, your projects. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, yeah. Yeah, but with a background in research and design, so my passion is to learn and to evolve design somehow. And at my company Ambition, we are empowering the world's designers by supporting them to reach the highest potential through our online membership service. And it's called Ambition Empower. So here is where AI and design comes in, where AI, UX, design, and product thought leaders help our members to stay ahead. And that's also where I found out about AI and design, because I'm myself invested in that learning track, AI and design. So yeah, that's what I do.
But just to ask you, what kind of projects are you working on at the moment that you can talk about?
Yeah, at the moment, quite recently I finished off this loyalty program where I was doing research, and right now I'm looking at ways of working with AI and design, but also how to create rituals and processes for UX designer in a new way. So that's my current job.
And that's a big job, I'm certain, and it will be even more in the future. So please have a look at Johan's company and their projects. The link is somewhere over there. Thanks everybody for watching. Johan, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure we'll have more chances to talk about AI and discuss all of this amazing world that is been drawn upon us. So it's super great to speaking with you, and see you soon, Johan.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.